For 30 years, the internet operated on this really simple kind of unspoken trade, like you give up your content and the search engine gives you a customer.
Right. The grand bargain.
Exactly. But today, I mean, that trade is just dead. It's gone. And worst of all, there's a default setting coming in September that you probably didn't even know existed, and it is going to completely erase your digital presence from whatever replaces it.
Yeah, it's huge. We are watching this massive tectonic shift from, a web of search engines to a web of answer engines.
Right.
And the financial implications for anyone who relies on that digital foot traffic, they are staggering.
Yeah.
Like, most site operators are just entirely blind to the sheer mechanical scale of what's happening at the infrastructure level right now.
Yeah, they might be looking at their analytics today thinking, oh, my traffic is stable. But the literal plumbing of the web is being ripped out right under our feet. So our mission for this deep dive is to decode this massive silent shift.
Yeah.
We're going to break down exactly why traffic is evaporating, the mechanics of how AI answer engines are just bypassing traditional websites entirely, and most importantly, how you can protect your digital footprint before automated edge controls just make those decisions for you.
Absolutely.
And to do this, we are pulling from two really incredible sources today. First, we've got a public briefing from BeaconSpec titled "The Click is Dying, Here's What Replaces It" by David Soden.
Great piece.
It really is. And second, we have this rare, almost uncomfortable look behind the curtain. It's a strategic memo, literally just saved as problem.txt.
I love that title.
Right, just problem.txt. And it's a candid, highly technical conversation between a site owner and an advisor who are actively dealing with the real-world fallout of these infrastructure changes.
Yeah, and reading that memo alongside Soden's macro analysis, it just provides this brutal contrast.
Oh, totally.
Because you have the theoretical shift of the entire internet happening in the public article, right? And then you have the localized panic of a business owner realizing their traffic just fell off a cliff because of a single hidden server rule.
It's terrifying.
It is. But the foundational premise they both arrive at is that the era of passive web management is just completely over.
Okay, let's unpack this, because to really grasp the danger here, we have to look at how the internet used to function versus, how it's processing data right now.
All right, the architecture.
Yeah. So in the old web, search engines were essentially just the yellow pages. Like, if you ran a famous neighborhood bakery, the search engine gave users your address, but the user still had to physically walk into your store, meaning they clicked your link, they loaded your HTML, they viewed your layout.
Experienced your site.
Exactly.
Yep.
And once inside, they bought a slice of pie, or they saw your ads, or joined your loyalty program. The traffic actually hit your server.
Yeah. And what's fascinating here is that the search crawler indexed your pages, but it didn't consume the transaction.
Right.
It merely facilitated the routing. You, as the creator, monetized the arrival.
But today, these AI agents, they aren't the yellow pages. They're like personal shoppers.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
Right, because they go into your bakery, they take the food, they bring it back to the customer, and they never even tell the customer where it came from. Yeah. The AI bot crawls the site, it perfectly synthesizes the recipe and the taste, and hands that final product directly to the user inside the AI interface.
The user gets the pie, but nobody actually walks into your store.
Exactly. Your server never registers the human visit.
And what's fascinating here from the expert side of things is the asymmetry of this, right?
Oh, the asymmetry is wild. The answer arrives before the click now. And for the end user, you have to admit, this feels like an incredible reduction in friction.
Oh, sure. It's super convenient, right? They bypass the loading screens, the pop-ups, the navigation menus. But for the site operator who actually generated the source material, it is a catastrophic loss of the top of funnel.
Yeah, you are effectively paying the server costs to produce answers that a machine hands to your customer, stripping away your branding and your money.
Precisely.
And we actually have the hard data to prove just how brutal this funnel collapse really is. The BeaconSpec article cites this 2025 Pew Research Center study analyzing Google search behavior, and the drop-off is aggressive.
Very aggressive.
Like, on a traditional search page, without any AI interference, about 15% of people click through to an organic web result.
Okay, 15%.
Right. But the moment an AI summary is injected at the top of the page, that organic click-through rate drops to 8%.
Wow. Cut in half.
Almost in half.
There.
And if you are banking on users clicking a citation link embedded inside that AI summary, like one of those little footnotes.
Oh, those are useless.
It is an abysmal 1%.
Yeah, a 1% click-through rate destroys almost every ad-supported business model on the internet. I mean, it's basically a rounding error at that point.
It really is.
The human visit that used to subsidize the creation of the content simply never instantiates. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this isn't some, accidental byproduct of generative AI.
No.
No, this is the culmination of a 20-year frag boiling strategy. Like Google has spent 2 decades systematically training users not to click outward.
Wow. Yeah. When I look at the timeline of Google's interface changes, it's so obvious in retrospect. Like they started with featured snippets, right? Just pulling a paragraph out of a blog post.
Right, to quick answers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then they built out knowledge panels for movies and recipes, scraping all that structured data. And now it's just full generative AI responses.
They trained us perfectly.
But wait, if Google owns the search market and they're choking off the open web, aren't they risking their own ecosystem? I mean, if publishers go bankrupt, what does the AI train on tomorrow?
That's the paradox, isn't it? They might be risking the long-term health of the open web, but the short-term financial imperative just completely overrides that concern.
Because of the ad revenue.
Exactly. Google owns both ends of the transaction now. They are the initial routing mechanism, and they are the final destination.
Ah, I see.
So every second a user stays inside the Google interface reading an AI summary, instead of navigating away to your site, well, Google has more opportunities to serve them proprietary ads.
So they protect their own revenue while the creator eats the loss.
The companies that aggregate the data capture all the value. That's the new rule.
Okay, so if I'm a local business or a publisher listening to this, my immediate reaction is highly defensive, right, too?
Yeah.
If these bots are acting like personal shoppers, stealing my inventory without paying at the register, I'm locking the front door. Like, why shouldn't I just configure my firewall to drop all requests from AI bots and protect my intellectual property?
This raises an important question.
Right.
And it is exactly the trap the problem.txt memo dissects so well. You are basically caught between 2 distinct failures.
Okay, what are the options?
Let's look at the first option. Staying wide open. You let the AI bots scrape your entire site.
Right, the default state for most people.
Yeah. They use your proprietary data to answer user queries. They train their underlying models on your text, and they send absolutely zero traffic back to your server. So you are subsidizing your own replacement for free.
Which is obviously unsustainable. I mean, nobody can survive that.
Right.
Blocking them entirely has to be the safer play, right? At least you aren't bleeding out.
Well, blocking the AI stops the theft, sure. But the catastrophic side effect is that you erase yourself from the map entirely.
Wait, entirely?
Yes, because AI interfaces are rapidly becoming the primary discovery layer for the internet. If an Anthropic or OpenAI bot hits your firewall and gets dropped, your business ceases to exist in their context window.
Oh.
Right. So if someone asks their AI assistant to recommend a local corporate law firm and you block the crawler, your competitor gets the recommendation.
Because the AI literally doesn't know you exist anymore.
Exactly. For service firms or local businesses, invisibility is a death sentence.
So you're basically choosing between being strip mined for free or wiping yourself out of existence.
Yeah, terrible options.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Because the sources outline a third path. And honestly, it is the most dangerous one because it requires zero effort.
Doing nothing.
Exactly. The third option is doing nothing.
And, doing nothing used to be a neutral stance on the web. It just defaulted to open. But that is no longer the case.
Because the infrastructure layer is stepping in to make the choice for you. The Beacon spec piece focuses heavily on edge network providers, specifically Cloudflare.
They are massive.
Right. Cloudflare sits in front of a massive percentage of all web traffic. And they recognize that the old content for traffic trade is broken, so they are attempting to engineer a new one at the edge.
Content for payment.
Exactly. They are deploying these monetization gateways that allow site owners to charge AI bots on a pay-per-crawl basis.
It's a brilliant leverage play by Cloudflare, honestly.
How so?
Because they control the proxy layer for millions of sites, they have the collective bargaining power to force AI companies to pay for access, rather than just letting the bots route around individual blocks.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, by intercepting the bot request before it even reaches the origin server, Cloudflare can check an API key, demand a microtransaction, and either serve a 402 payment required error or pass the data through.
But the mechanism they are using to force this adoption, this is the terrifying part, it's a ticking time bomb for the average site owner.
The September flip.
Yes. Cloudflare is initiating a massive default flip this September. If a site administrator does not actively configure their bot management settings to specify how AI crawlers should be handled, Cloudflare will block or throttle those bots by default.
Right, and you have to understand, the intent from the infrastructure side is entirely protective.
Right, they think they're helping.
They do. They want to stop their customers from being scraped for free without consent. But the real-world fallout, which we see explicitly in the problem.txt memo, is just chaotic.
So chaotic.
A protective edge setting you never explicitly enabled might just flip over the weekend. Suddenly, the AI answer engines drop your site from their index entirely.
Because you're blocking them without knowing it.
Exactly. You didn't opt out. You didn't touch your control panel. The proxy simply changed the default routing rule, and you quietly disappear from the AI layer.
The memo is chilling because it highlights a conversation with a developer who had absolutely no idea this was happening.
None at all.
Like, you could wake up in October, see your top-of-funnel lead generation just flatline, and spend months trying to debug your HTML or your marketing copy.
Wasting thousands of dollars.
Completely unaware that your edge provider dropped a curtain over your site. And the people you hire to manage this, your hosts, your SEO consultants, they're often a full year behind this architectural shift.
Oh, easily. Many don't even know these granular bot management controls exist yet. The asymmetry of knowledge between the infrastructure providers and the everyday site operator leaves the average business just incredibly vulnerable.
But wait, isn't there an RFC for this, like a request for comments standard? I thought the infrastructure guys, the search engines, and the AI companies were already working on an open standard for bot crawling and monetization.
I mean, I wish the web were still that collaborative.
So they aren't.
Not even close. What David Soden's article reveals is that there is no single rule book anymore. We are in the middle of a vicious multi-front standards war.
A standards war.
Yes. You have massive trillion-dollar corporations, each writing their own proprietary protocols and aggressively marketing their version as the definitive internet standard.
Wow. And the sources actually break this battlefield down into 4 warring factions, and the technical contradictions between them are maddening.
It's a mess.
So let's start with the first camp. The infrastructure providers like Cloudflare, we just covered their play. They want edge-level blocking and pay-per-crawl, right? And they are actively citing RFCs to make their monetization gateways sound like an open, established internet specification. They are basically borrowing the legitimacy of the old web to enforce a toll booth on the new one.
Exactly. Now contrast that with the second camp.
Right.
The traditional search giants like Google and Microsoft.
Right.
Their architectural goal is entirely contradictory to Cloudflare's. They want closed loops.
Meaning they don't want to pay the toll.
Exactly. Google's crawler doesn't want to hit a monetization gateway and negotiate a microtransaction. They want to ingest the data for free, synthesize it, and keep the user inside the Google interface.
And they have the leverage to force that, don't they?
They do. If an edge network tries to force a toll, the search giants have the market dominance to simply downrank those sites in traditional search as retaliation.
Man, that is brutal. And then you have the third camp, which completely blew my mind because it shifts this from just reading text to actual commerce. We're talking about the retail and payments sector.
The UCP standard.
Right. We're talking about a coalition heavily backed by Google, Walmart, Target, and major payment processors. And they're pushing this UCP standard, which defines how an AI agent actually executes a transaction on your behalf.
This is a really critical distinction to make. The first two camps, they're fighting over how an AI reads your site.
Okay.
The retail camp is fighting over how an AI buys from your site.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. UCP requires highly specific structured schema.
Yeah.
Think about it. When an AI agent buys shoes from Target for a user, it doesn't load the graphical interface, click add to cart, and type in a credit card.
Right. It doesn't have eyes.
Exactly. It uses UCP to negotiate price, verify real-time inventory, and process payment programmatically via API.
That is wild. And finally, the fourth camp. The pure play AI companies, the OpenAIs and the Anthropics of the world.
The wildcards.
Yeah, because they don't care about the toll booths, they don't care about the search rankings, and they definitely don't want to wait for UCP adoption.
They just need data.
Raw data to train their models. So they are actively deploying headless browsers and residential proxies to bypass the web application firewall blocks entirely. Like, they are dynamically shifting IP addresses to look like human users so they can scrape the data regardless of what standard you implement.
The tragedy of this four-way war is the collateral damage inflicted on the site operator.
Yes.
Yes. You might hire an engineer to perfectly configure your server to comply with Cloudflare's pay-per-crawl standard, right?
Right.
Only to realize that configuration physically breaks the UCP schema that Walmart's AI agents use to buy your wholesale inventory. You configure for one giant, and you break your site for another.
It's a complete paradox. Like, if you follow last year's technical advice, your architecture is literally toxic today. So what does this all mean?
Good question.
If the old rules of index and click are dead, the new protocols directly contradict each other, and doing nothing means getting erased by a September proxy default. How do you actually survive this transition?
Well, the synthesis of the public article and the private memo points to one unavoidable conclusion. You must assert granular per-crawler control over your digital assets before a default edge setting makes those choices for you.
So no more blanket rules.
Exactly. You can no longer rely on a blanket allow all or block all firewall rule.
You have to explicitly define your relationship with each specific bot. Like, do you want Googlebot to read your site for traditional search indexing?
Probably.
But do you want OpenAI's bot scraping your data for training their large language models?
Maybe not.
Right. And do you want an Anthropic bot summarizing your content for immediate user answers? And crucially, do you want to route those bots to a monetization gateway to charge for access? Or is the visibility alone worth giving the data away?
And the strategic logic there changes entirely based on your business model.
Give me an example.
Okay, if you operate a local plumbing business, you desperately need discovery. You want to feed your service area, your pricing, and your availability to every AI agent on the market for free.
Because you want the job.
Right. You need the agent to recommend you when a user says, "My pipes burst." But if you run a proprietary financial research firm, allowing an AI bot to scrape your analysis and summarize it destroys your entire subscription model.
I see.
In that case, you must gate that data and enforce a pay-per-crawl protocol.
Which means every single person listening to this needs to initiate a massive audit of their web infrastructure immediately.
Today.
Like, you need to know what your current bot management policy actually is at the proxy layer. You need to verify if your hosting provider deployed a silent update that is already dropping bot requests. You have to physically check your robots.txt, your server level headers, and the vendor-specific dashboards that control your edge routing.
And the harsh reality is that the tools required for this audit are just incredibly fragmented right now.
There's no one button to press.
No, there is no unified dashboard. The controls are scattered across DNS settings, hidden HTTP headers, and obscure WAF configurations.
And this fragmentation is exactly why that problem.txt memo is so illuminating.
Yeah.
It was written by the team behind BeaconSpec and a service called APA2MCP.
Yes.
Because they recognized the chaos in this infrastructure layer and realized there is a massive opportunity for anyone who can bridge the gap. They are building tools to handle this specific translation problem.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the technology they're discussing, MCP, or Model Context Protocol.
Okay, MCP.
Yes, MCP is the literal mechanism for how the web operates moving forward. Think about it. We spent the last 30 years optimizing HTML for human eyeballs.
Right, making it look pretty.
We tweaked the CSS, we made the buttons visually appealing, but AI agents do not care about your CSS. They cannot see your marketing layout.
Right, so MCP acts like a universal translator between your database and the AI agent.
Exactly.
Instead of forcing an AI to scrape your HTML and guess what a product costs based on the text layout, an MCP server feeds the AI raw structured JSON data. It gives the machine exactly what it needs: price, inventory, and specifications, entirely bypassing the visual front end of your website.
And this represents the birth of the agentic web. It is no longer about human discovery. It is about making your business technically discoverable, legible, and transactable for autonomous software agents.
The agent does the work.
Yes, ensuring that an AI can query your MCP server, understand your inventory, negotiate via UCP, and securely process a payment without human intervention. That is the absolute new frontier of web architecture.
As the memo bluntly points out, they say, I make sure agents can find you, use you correctly, and pay you when they should.
That's the quote.
And that is a technical positioning that very few developers fully understand yet, but every single business on the internet is going to need it within the next 12 months. We are literally shifting from optimizing for search engines to optimizing for agent engines.
The complexity of the infrastructure has permanently deepened. The days of just, throwing up a WordPress site and letting the search engines handle the discovery are over.
So to bring this all together for you listening, the foundational mechanics of the web have been entirely re-engineered. The routing protocols that drove traffic and revenue for 3 decades are being replaced by autonomous agents, monetization gateways, and conflicting machine-to-machine standards.
Right.
If you leave your digital presence on autopilot, an automated edge network default, like the one coming this September, could literally wipe you off the map of the new agentic web.
But, by understanding these mechanics today, you hold a massive structural advantage.
Oh, huge.
The vast majority of site operators will only discover this shift when their top-of-funnel analytics flatline 6 months from now, and they will waste thousands of dollars trying to fix their SEO.
Yep.
But you have the forewarning to audit your proxy settings, deploy structured MCP data, and make deliberate per-crawler choices about how AI interacts with your server right now.
You can actively decide whether you are going to feed the personal shopper for free, charge the bot at the edge network, or lock the firewall entirely. It's your choice, but you have to make it.
You do. And as we navigate this transition, it leaves us with a really profound technical and cultural question to consider.
What's that?
Well, if the entire future of web architecture is focused on optimizing JSON feeds, configuring MCP servers, and ensuring AI agents can negotiate UCP retail protocols on our behalf,
Right.
what happens to the human experience of the internet? Like, when the web becomes an invisible layer of machines silently trading structured data at light speed, what happens to the digital landscape when human eyes rarely need to look at a website ever again?
Man, I guess we better make sure the data looks pristine in the JSON feed, just in case an agent ever decides to pass it along to a real person.
Fair point.
Well, until next time, go audit those edge settings, and thanks